Whether you are having a coffee on your commute, maybe it's a tea on the way to Tewkesbury, or your car is a mobile hydration station as you head to the gym. One thing is for sure, cup holders in your car are well used. So why haven't we ever tested them? Well, today I've picked 5 cars from the forecourt here at Bluebell Hill, and we are going to test out cup holders. Yes, that's right. The BMW 3 Series Tourer, one of my favourite cars on the road. This is a 7th generation model, so it's got a B58 engine under the hood, 3 litres and over 370 brake horsepower. Why do I love these? Performance, practicality and looks. But today we're interested not about how much you can fit in the boot, but how good it is at transporting your chosen liquids around. Yeah, I heard what that sounded like. So let's analyse the liquid holding capabilities of this M340i 3 Series Tourer. Well, first of all, in the front, you actually get 4 separate cup holders, 1 in each door panel and then 2 at the front. In my door panel, I've got this rather large coffee or tea travelling receptacle, and it fits snugly in there. And then with the 2 that you have at the front here, well, I've got a standard size kind of coffee travel mug here, and it fits quite nicely in there. Now they do have grips, so adjustable sizing in the cup holders in the front. So let's say you've got a bigger travel mug like this, well, it fits in there quite nicely. But let's say you want to put a smaller can of drink, the Rio Tropical source of vitamin C, which I'm led to believe is very nice, that fits in there quite nicely as well. As for the rest of the cabin, it's BMW chic, so nice driving position, digital cockpit in front of you that you can see very clearly, heads-up display in this particular M340i, lovely buttons on the steering wheel, the classic BMW iDrive infotainment system, and if you've had your eyes peeled, you'll see there's a brand new version of that has hit the roads, but this is the classic, managed by the rotary dial in the middle or by your fingers via the touchscreen. I think it's one of the best infotainment systems on the road, and of course the cabin as a whole is a very comfortable and luxurious place to be. In other words, a lovely place to drink your coffees. But let's have a look and see just how much room and space you have in your cup holders, and ask me no questions about why I have a tape measure. I shall tell you no lies. 7 centimeters in diameter and 7 centimeters in depth. I guess that's plenty of room. The Audi A1, a premium little city slicker that's, let's be honest, designed to move your oat milk latte around suburban London. No aspersions on either things. I enjoy them both. Would you like an Audi fact? Of course you would. The 4 rings at the front signify the 4 car manufacturers that were brought together to give you Audi as we know them today. Let's talk cup holders inside of this Audi A1. So we have 3, they are in the middle. 2 of them are exactly the right size for a can of standard drink, such as this lovely Tropical Rio. That fits perfectly well. When we move on to hot beverage travel options, it starts to go downhill a little bit, if I'm honest. So just about fits, but not really. You've got a option in the middle, but really that's for keys, phones, kind of general travel detritus. It's really not where you want to be putting a travel mug, so that's kind of out of the window. Then this particular travel mug, which is the one that I use it all the time, that doesn't fit at all. So that is going to be a problem. And then if that isn't enough, well, you've got your real handbrake that kind of gets in the way. Nothing against real handbrakes, it's just really not good for this. So when you've got the mini version in the middle of a cup holder that's just good enough for, frankly, a can of Red Bull, well, I'm sorry, Audi, you are lacking in the cup holder department. Let's give it the tape measure of truth. You're looking at 6 centimeters by 6 centimeters of depth in the bigger one, and then in the smaller one, you're looking at 5 by 6. So pretty good. But overall, sorry, Audi, that is not a good showing for cup holders. As for the rest of the cabin, do you know what? It's actually very, very good. So the A1 is the entry into the Audi brand, but that doesn't mean that you get any less Audi for your money. Steering wheel in this S-Line, really, really nice. The seats, they're pretty plush, pretty nice, half leather, half cloth, but very, very supportive. We've got a digital cluster in front of us so you can see your revometer and all that kind of thing. It is adaptive, very big tick from me. Infotainment system, fairly standard Audi, very responsive touchscreen, no complaints from me whatsoever. But what I quite like is that you've got real dials for your climate control, real buttons for things like your drive mode select. And then the one complaint, if I'm really, really picking on things to talk about, is your volume control is down here. When it's in drive, it's not so bad, but when it's in park, pretty much impossible to touch. So you're going to find yourself using your steering wheel controls. So overall, the Audi A1 is a good car. However, cup hold wise, big fail, I'm afraid. Sounds just like a Golf. If you remember that advert, then you are old enough to appreciate just what the GTI badge on a Golf signifies. But it also means you enjoy a nice, lovely drink while you're driving. So let's jump inside of this Golf GTI and test out the cup holders. It's cold. So cold. So the Golf GTI, or Grand Touring Injection. There's a little fact for you. This is a very good all-round family car, but you are going to be driving it potentially as a commuting mobile. So you're going to want your coffee and be able to drink your hot beverage while you travel. So, cup holders. Large coffee or tea holder in here. It's kind of stable, not the best, not the worst. It's got little grabbers that do the job. Then if you've got a can of drink, so Rio in our case, you pop that in there. It doesn't fit at all, but there's a little button here that releases little arms, and actually it fits quite well then and comes out a little bit like R2-D2 spinning around, which frankly I quite appreciate. Could it be tighter? Yes. Is it going to wobble around? Yes. Not the best, not the worst. And then you've got your door pockets, which actually fit a mug in there quite well, or a 1 litre bottle of water. Here's my coffee mug that I use to travel around with everywhere, and that fits in there quite nicely as well. Again, a little bit of a wiggle, but not the worst thing in the world. I would give it a solid 6 out of 10 on the cup holder point scoring. Now, how big are your cup holders, I hear you ask? Well, I have my tape measure of truth, although I'm pretty sure it lies to me when I measure other things. But you've got a diameter of just under 9 centimeters and a depth of just over 8.5 centimeters, so pretty cavernous. And then you've got this bigger one here where you could fit multiple things in, and that's 10.2 by 9. There's some numbers. Basically, it's pretty good. Away from the cup holders, let's talk about the rest of this Golf GTI's interior. Right in front of me, nice digital display. It is adaptive, so you can do what you want with it depending on what you like to see when you're driving. GTI, so very sporty steering wheel, flappy pedals to choose from your gears if you want to get manual with it, but it is very, very well adjusted, and the pedals are very well aligned to where your torso is going to be. Talking about your torso, the seats are a blend of the old with the new. What do I mean by that? Well, you've got the tartan that follows through from GTIs of old, but these modern bucket seats, nicely bolstered. They're actually pretty good, I've got to say. They're very supportive and very sporty, which is what you want from a GTI. The infotainment system, now, like it or loathe it, some people have got mixed opinions of the new system. I am one of them, if I'm honest, but it does work. It's got touchscreen, but no buttons. They're all haptic touch feely, including on the steering wheel, but they do work, and once you get used to them, they're perfectly fine. But I warn you now, if you're buying one of these, not to put you off, you just need to give yourself a bit of time to get used to it. The rest of the interior, lovely ambient lighting throughout, which I personally love. I like a bit of ambient lighting in my cars. In the middle here, you've got a little phalange that flips up and you can put your phone underneath. This particular GTI here at Big Motoring World has got wireless charging for your mobile device, and then start stop. But the whole thing in the middle, the whole center console, feels a bit like a fighter jet. So you've got your buttons for park, your buttons for start stop, as I mentioned, auto hold, and then your gear selector that, if you're familiar with the VAG group, so Audi, Porsche, etc., they all have this very familiar gear selector in the middle. I quite like it, if I'm honest. Overall, the GTI, a very good place to be, very sporty, and the all-important cup holders a solid 5 or 6 out of 10. It is a very good car. Is it a car? Is it a van? Well, it's kind of a mixture of both. This is the Mercedes V-Class, the passenger version of the well-known commercial van Vito. It is super luxurious. It is a Mercedes-Benz after all, but why is it in our cup holder test? Well, it's all about the passenger. So instead of testing the front, we're actually going to be testing the back, because that is what this is all about. Woohoo! The back of the Mercedes V-Class is massive. 6 passengers, 3 versus 3, and it is a perfect limousine. Now, if you've got a big family and you need to move lots of people and things around, this is perfect. Equally, of course, if you're in the business of airport transfers, this is also rather good. But we are here for the cup holder test. So in the back here, you have 2 by each window, and then you've got plenty of big door pockets as well. So you've got 2 down by your feet. So let's give it a test. Let's start with the rather large coffee or tea holder. Perfect fit, doesn't move around all that much, and of course, because this is so big, it's fairly stable. So that'll fit in there, no problem. And there is a little size changing digit, if you like, that will help grip what you've got in there. So that is no danger whatsoever. What about, you've got a can of drink. Back to trusty Rio Tropical there. Again, because of the flexible grip digit, that fits in there, no problem at all. It's actually pretty easy to get a hold of as well. Not so easy for your right hand, but pretty easy for your left. And then finally, you've got the squat coffee mug. This is my travel mug. I take it all over the place, and that fits perfectly as well. So with the tape measure of truth, you're looking at 9 centimeters of diameter there, and about, well, let's go from the smallest point, 7 centimeters of depth. But because of that flexi digit in the middle, that is going to grip most of what you put in here. And of course, it's replicated on the other side. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to give it a strong 8 out of 10 for cup holder goodness. And overall, this Mercedes V-Class is super luxe. Nice leather seats, you've got space in the back, and then the driver is way where you are stood actually right now, Mr. Cameraman. So I don't have to talk to the help, which is always good. And it is comfortable all around. Mercedes-Benz quality. Thumbs up. In the cockpit of the Mercedes V-Class, it is very Mercedes. So good driving position, very comfortable leather seats. The infotainment system is adequate, just like most Mercedes entertainment systems. You've got touch sensitive pad, your swirly dial if you don't want to do that, and all your buttons just to control your aircon air towel. But fundamentally, it is all about keeping the driver comfortable on what will be normally, you'd imagine, quite long drives. So once you put the armrest down, it feels pretty much like being in a nice city at home. The whole of this car is comfort personified. The Porsche Taycan was Porsche's first foray into the EV market, and I've got one here, if you haven't noticed, due to the striking baby blueness of this car. Now, the 911, you may not know, had wonderful cup holders, so let's see if this Taycan can compete with its much older sibling. Let's talk about range of this all-electric Porsche Taycan. If you've got the 4S or the 4S Plus, it will make a difference, but you're looking at between 300 to 400 miles of range. But given on a day like today, when it's very, very cold, about -1, I'll be honest, you're gonna get less than that from your battery. But when it's time to charge, how do you charge your Taycan? Well, you need to plug it in. How do you get in? Well, you give it a little stroke and out comes your charging port. Done charging, stroke it again, and it'll come back down. That is a beautiful touch from Porsche. Now, while I talk about the cup holders in here, I'm going to try my best not to absolutely lose it about the quality of the cabin. We will get to it. So, cup holders, we have two, one for you and one for your passenger, or two for you, whatever you want. Now, inside, you have these beautiful little grippy arms that adjust depending what is in there. Now, this is my trusty coffee travel mug. In it goes. It fits perfectly. There's just enough give that you can take it back out easily, but beautifully done by Porsche. And then my can of Rio Tropical, and that fits in again because of those arms beautifully, just slides in. It's almost like Porsche are gently cradling your drink back into its holder, and that is also fantastic. Let's try with a slightly bigger one. This is a bigger travel mug. In, again, beautifully done. And when you're driving this, and you might drive it hard because it's a Porsche, these are going to stay beautifully in situ. Let's just measure our cup holders. So you're looking at 9 centimeters in diameter and just about 8.5 centimeters in depth. But if there's anything we're learning about cup holders today, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's not about the width or the depth, it's about how it clings onto your mug. And that is genuinely a sentence I never thought I'd ever say in my professional career. Let's talk about the inside of the cockpit itself. Well, it is sublimely put together. It feels super quality, which is something we've gotten used to with Porsche. While we're not talking about driving dynamics today, I have driven one of these and I can tell you that it feels every inch a proper Porsche product. But let's start with what's in front of me. We've got the all digital display here, which is crystal clear, and you can have it with the classic 3-circle setup should you want. Steering wheel, perfectly set up. It is exactly the right width, exactly the right texture. It is brilliant. The driving position, again, very sporty. You can feel Porsche's driving and motorsport heritage coming through your backside into your shoulders when you sit here. And they have done very well with the infotainment system. So it's all touchscreen, even down to your climate control, which is in a unit just below kind of your radio, your sat nav, and all of that. And even to the point where you click the menu button, if you want to move which direction your blowers are in, you then do that using this panel as well. So it is very futuristic, but overall it is still very much a Porsche cocoon. You know you're in a Porsche when you're in the Taycan, and it is genuinely incredible. One of the best and nicest cars that you can get on the road today. Now, where it is a full EV, if you were to buy this from Big Motoring World, they're nowhere near as expensive as they were when they were brand new. So you're getting even more car for your money. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit in love with this. The Mercedes-Benz V-Class or Vito, a fantastic limousine with fantastic cup holders. If you want to get around in style as a passenger, then this is the car for you. The BMW M340i. It's no secret that it's one of my favorite cars on the planet. Practical, looks the part, and the cup holders, well, a strong 6.5 out of 10. Certainly one to consider. The Golf GTI. You can't go wrong with a Golf. It is a family car, and with the GTI badge, it will pull up its skirt and get going. The cup holders, on the other hand, well, they were probably a 6 out of 10. I wouldn't buy it for the cup holders. Now, I never thought I'd ever say that. The Audi A1, a wonderful city car, albeit a little bit teeny tiny, but that's what you want. Now, the cup holders, well, frankly, they were rubbish. If you want something that gets you around the city streets in style and comfort, think of the A1. If you want something to move your latte around, don't buy this car. But my best all-round cup holder car of the day was the Porsche Taycan 4S. The best cup holders that I've tried today, and frankly, the loveliest thing that I've been in to date.